Okay, so, in my last video, I talked about kind of the state of gaming journalism and the three types of journalists that I commonly see on the internet. Now, one of the things I wanted to go into a little more depth for is the biased nature of many of these journalists. For example, a site like SecuriAttack, for example, many of the people who work on it, from what I can tell, grew up around the NES era. Now, obviously, they tend to have a bias in favor of those games. Now, I've noticed recently, specifically, especially after, what was his name, Handsome Tom left, a lot of the stuff started getting dumber and dumber. And to be honest, from a lot of the people on that site are, well, kind of idiots that really don't want the industry to go. They don't want it to go to anyone else other than them. They want to keep the industry kind of to what they want, which is unfortunate for those who enjoy games that they don't like. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit more about someone like, say, Ben Yahtzee, aka Zero Punctuation. Now, this is one of the most annoying concepts I've ever heard. Pretty much making your money based on saying everything's awful. One, that's not smart. Saying everyone's stupid does not make you insightful. I'm just gonna go say that right now. It more or less makes you pretentious, as far as I'm concerned. Now, in the comments, my friend Scully was talking about people like Zero Punctuation. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I don't really watch, like, The Escapists and all that. I've seen the three main guys, Zero Punctuation, Movie Bob, and Jim Sterling, and here's pretty much them in a nutshell. Zero Punctuation, just a really pretentious idiot who's pretty much just trying to make money by saying everything's awful. Jim Sterling, I haven't really seen much of him. The most I've watched was his movie Defense Force, which was I mean, I agreed with him on Wild Wild West, but other than that, he's just kind of an idiot that I wouldn't trust as far as I could throw him. But then again, if I were to throw him, his weight would probably cause the planet to fall out of orbit on impact. Now, as for Movie Bob, that's the guy I viewed the most. Interesting thing about him is I found out about him on a video called You're Wrong About Spider-Man 3. Fun fact, that's actually my favorite Spider-Man movie, but that's beyond the point. Now, as far as I'm concerned, he's one of the biggest idiots on there. The more and more you look into him, he's pretty much one of those guys that has his own specific set of viewpoints, and then he'll fight against any tactics used by the people of different viewpoints. However, when people that go with his viewpoints, he'll be so happy to support them. Like Anita Sarkeesian, for example. He completely opposes how Jack Thompson goes about everything, but then is so happy about Anita Sarkeesian doing pretty much the same thing because he's one of those guys who wants to look good in front of people. Anyway, this is one of the biggest problems with many games journalists, and this is actually a fourth type that I've looked into. Not as prevalent, but kind of a sub-series. This is I like to call these people, specifically Jim and Movie Bob, the agenda gamers, the agenda journalists. The people who pretty much look at games as something that they can use to, advance their viewpoints. People like Jack Thompson, Anita Sarkeesian have pretty much done the same thing. Anyway, what are your thoughts?